Welcome, everyone. It's The Verdict. Welcome back if you've been watching us from the beginning of the session. And this is our session at this time. I'm not alone. Nyota Igbe is here with me. And we've had about 18 results coming in. Some people are saying, oh, this is too slow by now. We should have all the results. But we wait on INEC. Before they went on that short recess, they were saying they were going to be back at 3 o'clock. So we do hope to join INEC, including the chairman of INEC, as more results come in from the rest of the state. So thanks a lot for staying tuned and continue to follow the robust coverage from Channels Television and everything concerning this election, the activities, the collation, the counting, and the eventual result we'll bring to you right here live. Nyota. Indeed.
And the fact, before you saw us, you saw pictures of people who are watching Channels, who are following from across the country, indeed around the world. We'd like to know how you are following the election coverage and following the results as well. Send us a picture, and with the hashtag I voted, the verdict, and then 2019 elections. You can send it to us, and then we'll put it out there. Let everyone know that you're also watching and following the results, but also you can watch us on the go. We'd like to let you know that news is our business. We take it very serious to keep you informed. So we are everywhere on the go, on your mobile device. You can watch us via your browser or the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Channels Television, or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS from their respective stores, and you can watch us on the go. But we are keeping tabs on this. We have our reporters across the country, and we're keeping tabs on the results that are coming in. So far, we had almost all the National Assembly results that have come in. Some surprises, as Jide put it yesterday.
Yeah, some surprises, some expected,
and
some are just unusual. There, and some are unusual. Yeah. So he said yesterday as well. And we'll be keeping tabs on it. I mean, lots of people are asking what's happening with Lagos State, where are the results, what's happening with Kano. Well, here at Channels Television, we cannot tell you. We can only depend on INEC, and so we have to be a bit more patient until those results come in. But someone who can talk about those results, or rather talk about what we can see so far, is a human resources consultant, Mr. Yomi Fawemi. Thanks a lot for joining us on this side of the show.
Thank you very much.
Your thoughts?
Well, it's been interesting and quite a lot of things, like you described, surprises. But I think for me, one of the biggest issues about this election is the fact that if you check the numbers, everybody is dropping numbers. There's going to be a winner. I mean, that's sure. It's a two-legged race. There's going to be a winner. It's a given. But anybody who carefully observes the numbers realize that both the two leading parties are dropping numbers where they should not drop. I mean, so in 2015, we're having many political parties being able to have excess of 1 million in states. I mean, for example, in 2015, we had close to 3, 4, 5 states where a candidate had over 1 million. We have struggled to get one till date. And you'll be shocked that, for example, the rate at which the numbers are dropping, it's instructive and provides the context for us to start to ask that question. I think one of the things that is also very important for us as Nigerians to be very conscious of is the fact that it's good for us to have a great election, but when you are losing numbers in your second term or your second attempts, it's a pointer, it's a feedback to you.
What about those who say, even if you're losing numbers, you're still winning? I mean, we don't know what the result will be at the end, but there's some who think a win is a win, whether it came with a drop in numbers or not.
Yeah, the challenge we're dealing with is a question of, are you playing a football match or you want to play penalties? Winning is a penalty, and it's just going to happen this week. But you're going to run government for 4 years. Those your people that left you, where are they going to? That's a bigger concern. And, you know, in the case, I mean, with what you have seen, whether you're coming your first time, your second time, the issues are very different. If you remember what happened in 2015, the challenge with 2015 started from the Occupy Lagos, which was a follow-up from the election that happened in 2011. So if you are, for example, somebody who got 15 million votes, for example, in your last election, and you come to the next election and you don't have 15 million votes, that means you have lost some people. Those people, where do they go to? If they are no more on your side, where have they gone to? So if you now need to take those very serious decisions where you need their support, where do they come to? Why? So it's not just about just winning. Winning is an event, but you've got 4 years to rule the nation.
Why would anyone who's in office, what do you think is it that results in the losing of numbers, especially for an incumbent?
Quite a number of factors. There's a case of apathy. There's also a case of lack of understanding of business strategy. One of the biggest problems of businesses is that they forget who their competitor is after some time. I mean, it's happened in the soda industry where the two leading brands, I won't want to mention their name, but we know the two leading brands globally felt they were in competition. And the CEO of one of them came on board and said, listen, you are not in competition with the other brand. You are in competition with water. Water is your competition, not the other brand. Because it's water people need. Right? And therefore, it's when they don't get water, or when they want something more than water, but water is a basic need. And that changed the whole strategy. We're not having a two-legged race. We're having a three-legged race. So you have the two dominant parties, the APC and the PDP. And there's an assumption between the two of them or around the nation that is a race between the APC and the PDP and then the other smaller parties. But there is a third party that is growing, and that's the party of I don't care. That party is what is accounting for the drop in the numbers. If we check the figures that were released by INEC on the number of people that were collected or received their PVCs, the numbers are significantly high. I mean, we might not have had that number before in history. So how come is it that people are getting to the point where they'll go get their PVCs but refuse to vote? Because there's a competitor. I don't care. I don't care snatching votes from both President Buhari and Alhaji Atiku. I don't care at the end of the day. Perhaps is the winner of this election. Because if you have a case where in many states you're having turnouts of 25%, 35%, 40%, that means that I don't care one.
I don't know, but you know, for this particular election, accreditation and voting was simultaneous.
Yeah.
So in the past, you could say they got accredited and went home and didn't care. But how will somebody get there? The process is simultaneous. They get there, accredit, and then go back.
They didn't get there. They didn't go.
No, but you have cases where the results were declared and observations were raised to say that the number of people, the number of voided votes and the number of vote cast does not tally with the number of people who are accredited that day.
Yeah, again, but that's a smaller number compared to those that never showed up. That's a smaller number. Let's look at the number of people that really didn't show up. I mean, I was telling somebody that...
Okay. You mean the number of people registered?
Who registered, who got the PVC. And like I told somebody, I said, one of the biggest value of the PVC to many people is identification. The cheapest identification system we have in this country is the PVC. Of course, we know the various ways you can identify yourself in Nigeria. You have the national ID card. Many people can't get it because of the cumbersome nature. The second one is the national passport. It costs you like 30,000 to 35,000 to get that. PVC is free and it's close to your house. So many people got the PDC as an identification system, not as a voting system. So while we were celebrating, oh, we have 85% collection rate of PVCs, it wasn't for election, it was just for a simple identification. So those people never planned to vote. And of course, as you went closer to the election, and people started to hear the rhetorics from the candidates, I mean, come to think about it, there were questions around, is it worth my time going out? And therefore, that idea of either comes from apathy or actually a lack of concern for what is really happening. And people didn't go. Now, you come to this smaller set of people who got accredited and who didn't eventually vote. And now, many factors could account for that. Somebody gets called on the phone and say, okay, the soup you are cooking is almost done. Or somebody comes and says, your baby is crying at home. Or somebody gets called and says, well, I mean, I just don't know who to vote for. There was a study that was released by ANAP a couple of weeks back, and their figures was excess of 40% of Nigerians who are undecided as at the time of the conducting of that interview. So maybe somebody just said, I mean, what's the point? I mean, don't also forget the issue about violence was there, where people, for example, would be accredited, and then there were issues around people came to threaten them. So we have that. But for me, my own greater concern, I think that's what should bother all of us as people that watch the system is, are we disengaging more Nigerians? Are more Nigerians withdrawing from this system? Are more Nigerians voting against being part of the voting?
Okay, that's your reaction, but we have reactions coming in from elsewhere. And let's take it to Edo State now, where we see the Edo APC and the PDP, that's the leading parties, are trading words over the card reader use as reactions to the presidential results. So even in a place like Edo, you see that that has already started. Yeah,
and it's good. So both sides, I mean, one of the other very interesting about this election, and I had to tell one of the people I respect the most in communications and media, is that both the party in government and the opposition party talk the same way. I mean, so, for example, when we had the postponement, both of them issued press releases, and you were wondering, who are you blaming? I mean, I had to tell somebody that, have you forgotten that INEC is part of government? And the person said, no, it's not government. I said, no, INEC is not a private organization. It's not an NGO.
We've had a robust argument about that. We had one of the panelists saying, no, they're independent. And so you can't expect the ruling. In fact, I think it was a legal advisor of the APC that was saying this, that you can't expect the government to interfere because one of the candidates is the president, and so INEC should do on their own thing.
It's not about interference. You know, I tell people when it comes to politics, if a name is part of the name of an organization, suspect it. So if it has independence in it, suspect it. If it has democracy in it, suspect it. If it says Congress in it, they will not hold Congress. I mean, once that name is there, there's a likelihood that what is the name is not what it represents. But the question is still part of government. And I tell, we need to clearly get this. We have three arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. Based on the current system of accounting and reporting, the work of INEC seems like a judicial work because they are umpires. But structurally, they are part of the executives. And whether there is a judiciary or whatever we want to put it, they are part of government. And therefore, when the two parties start to talk as if they are not part of government, and you expect the opposition party to talk in the particular, that's where the opposition, but when the party in government also start to release press releases that makes you start to wonder. I mean, for me, it got to a head, and you guys in the media, maybe you need to start to train people to start to know how to talk to people, where former president of the United States, Bill Clinton, said he wouldn't come because his visit would be politicized. And it was just a day after one of the parties released a press statement. So the question is that the tension we are building is also as a result of the kind of communication you're hearing and not being able to, everybody accept that we got to move forward. Give it or take it, this election has moved us forward a bit.
The thing is, for me, right now, it's about human resource. When you were talking, you said there was a report that came out, ANAP, about 40% undecided. So now, then you also said there is the third party. Well, call it the third force. the I don't care party. And the bulk of those ones are just collecting the PVCs for identification. But as a human resource consultant, there's something that happens in most organizations, or in organizations. It's not just about having the human resource. It's also about engaging them. Now, in this case, Nigeria is blessed with enormous human resources. Is the government engaging the people? In the course of the campaigns, you saw massive crowds at the rallies, you saw people gathering everywhere. Was that engagement enough to have resulted in this?
We did not have campaigns, we had rallies.
Rallies, not forms of engagement?
No, it's not semantics. Don't let us start to argue semantics of apology of I'm sorry versus I apologize.
Okay.
A campaign is a deliberate attempt to communicate. Mm-hmm. A rally is a rally. I want to ask both of you, you're seeing the two leading candidates come to Lagos. Can you quote one sentence they made there? Our campaigns in the last couple of years has become dancing competitions. Unfortunately, we have two parties that have symbols that allow for that. So whether you broom the situation or you umbrella the situation, but it's just dancing and music. I mean, we grew up to hear the Awolowos of this world, the Ziks. When these guys go to campaign, you hear the issues. I mean, MPN had his campaign. UPN had his campaign. You had people that had the way, their style of communicating. I mean, maybe it's those that even use very, very big English. I mean, you will never forget late Adelabu, for example, peculiar mess, as we used to call him, that became peculiar mess. You will never forget the capacity to use quotes and big words by a Keum, by the way, for example. You will never forget the proverbs of late Bolaige. I mean, so these people come and they inspire you. They want you to come to listen to them. You see oration balanced with wisdom. You see history balanced with capacity to understand development and the needs of the moment. And it's like a lecture. But ask yourself what has happened in all this campaign season. You will not hear somebody went, you know, last election, people went on those rallies and made promises. This time around, there are no more promises.
There were promises.
Give me the promise that was given to Lagos State people.
More roads, better roads, welfare.
But that's not a promise. More roads means what?
We promise to give you more roads.
But if somebody said that I'm going to give you free education to university level, that's a promise because I can do it. Because what does it mean I'll give you more roads?
Or better roads, let's put it that way.
Well, better roads, and we're still at Apapa. The point I'm making is that the campaign was not such that engaged people. The communication was not rich. The discussions was not that robust to get people to be on board. There was also the attempt by some people, some political leaders to, as it were, show they didn't really care about whether people voted or not. You know, some people had this sense of bravado as it went towards the election. They didn't speak like leaders, they spoke like rulers. And they said things like, it's my money, you know. Why do you bother the next day if you heard that the day before?
If the campaigns were not robust and engaging,
you know, with the rallies.
Okay. Yes, you call them rallies. If they're not robust and engaging, there were debates.
I was just about to say that a lot of people said for the first time in our history, you see a lot of, so many organizations were organizing debates beyond even the media. You know, you had different people coming together and talk about the issues because of the number of presidential candidates that we had. So is that not engagement? So
the two leading candidates never sat down together to debate themselves. So it's like you say you want to watch La Liga, the Spanish football club, and you did not watch El Clasico, but you are watching Almeria versus Sevilla. That's what we have. It's not, so the point is, we had an anticlimax with the debate. I mean, all of us saw the build-up to it and the way in which the two leading candidates did not show up for that debate, where it would have put them together. And maybe would have also allowed some very direct communications.
So you think that the trend of results that are coming in now, as we see, we've seen Adamawa, Oyo, Anambra, Kaduna, this trend would have been different if there was a more robust debate on the side of the leading candidate? I
think the I don't care guys might have come on board. Because you will have heard more things. I mean, let's be very sincere. We really did not hear so many significant things. This election started this elections period started. College of Education went on strike. It was not an issue. Universities went on strike. It was not an issue. Polytechnics went on strike. It was there was a time that all our institutions were on strike. Just 3 months before the election, it didn't become an issue. And you're saying the students will be engaged in that process. Then all of them signed in the last 2 weeks, which I feel is a miracle, since we know that both of them know what they're doing, signing just before the election. So there were debates, but the issues did not really come out. And it allowed more people to be disengaged. And it happens in organizations where leaders are not very deliberate to let people feel inclusive. It's our country, it's our election, and the leaders must do that. Again, there's also the part of voter education that you needed INEC to deal with. We used to have a very vibrant National Orientation Agency. I'm not sure if you saw them throughout this election period, coming out with issues and all of that. So there were all those factors prevented people to come in. Now, am I surprised at the numbers I'm getting? I said that some numbers, some results have shocked me. I'm not surprised. Too many cases, but I'm happy. I'm happy because there is a feedback to the system. Whether you won or you don't win, there's a feedback to the system. I'm also surprised the level of apathy in some states that you felt had the numbers and that people did not go out. I'm also equally surprised that we had significant turnouts in some states where everybody felt everybody has run away from.
Because even when you see number of people accredited and then number of people who collected their PVCs, then you now say you can't even use that figure because the turnout is low. But I'm going to let you weigh in on all that, and we'll talk about activities coming in from across the states as well. And remember, we're still waiting on INEC when we come back.